Welcome to 4 Minutes Closer to God. My name is Doug. Today I want to discuss what's in a name. So we have Jesus, who is not what his mother called him. She would have used her native tongue, which was Aramaic back in that time, and so she would have probably called him Yeshu. So he would have been known by different names at that time in his early upbringing. Yeshu ben Yosef, Joseph being his father, or what was known as his father. And so the idea then that we call him Jesus comes from the many iterations through history and cultures and languages. So let's take a step back and look at the name John. John comes from the Hebrew Yochanan, which means Yahweh is gracious. So the Yo part is reflective of the divine name, and then Hanan is grace or gracious. So we get Johann in German and John shortened up into English, but we also have, for example, Chon in Chinese, Evan in Welsh, Sean in Irish. We have Ian in English, Yahya in Arabic. You may have heard of Giovanni, that's the Italian, Juan for the Spanish, Jean for the French. The different languages in the world to have their own John names. I'm Finnish background, and so Hanu would be one of the derivations of the name John. So what do we do with Jesus? We have Jesus coming from Yehoshua, which in the Hebrew is Yahweh saves. And so Yahweh saves. Joshua then was named Yehoshua in the Old Testament, and so we just call him Joshua. And that name then was shortened over time to Yeshua. So that is the name typically ascribed to Jesus in the Hebrew and possibly the Aramaic, Yeshu, or even in some cases Isho. And so what would Jesus' mother Mary have called him when she wanted him to come in to dinner? Yeshu. We have then the Yeshua transcribed into Greek, so that's the language of the New Testament. And so they tried to transliterate it into the words that we have as Jesus. You can see that in the Greek. And from there then we get the Latin Jesus with an I, and then by way of the German, the I becomes a J, Yah, and from that we get Jesus. And so through many different transformations of time and language, we go from Yehoshua to Yeshua, to Jesus in Greek, to Jesus now. Then how is he the Christ? What would be his last name? Well, Christ is not his last name, it's a title. He is the Anointed One. So you may hear Yeshua, the Anointed, and that comes down through the Greek to Jesus Christos, which is Jesus, the Anointed One. So that's a title given to him. But he also was called Jesus of Nazareth, as that was known as his hometown. And then Jesus, the son of Joseph. And so he could be, in our modern parlance, Joshua Josephson, or Joshua Nazarene, or Joshua Christos, which would be a title. And my name is Doug, which means from the Black River. And so you can have different types of names from occupations, from where you come from, last names of the sort in other languages. So we get a wide variety in the mixing pot that is America. And Jesus, his name came to us in no less a fashion. Jesus the Christ is Jesus the Anointed, but his last name isn't Christ. That's his title.